Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. Time for an update, but technically speaking, this is not an update. We are going back in time and it's a different defendant, but you will recognize the victim. That's her. And if Judge Hesselink would have let her talk, I bet she would have said, "Judge, I had fuzzy handcuffs on hand. I was going to make my own citizen's arrest." Right? Yeah, that's it. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
I'm sorry, I was not able to hear that. I believe you're still on mute.
That's Brandon Ryder, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, you are Brandon Ryder?
Yes, sir.
Let me find your case.
2 hearings.
I see that now. All right. All right, this is the matter of the state of Michigan versus Brandon Ryder that's filed 25-43762-SM. Mr. Ryder is present from the jail. Mr. Brown is here as well. Excuse me. Looks like we have a status conference and then hearing on alleged bond violation. Mr. Ryder, the bond violation alleges that on June 23rd of 25 at approximately 11:30 in the morning, you were within 50 feet of Dawn Marie Crow in a vehicle together with her. You understand the nature of the allegation against you?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
A bond violation is punishable by up to, well, it's a contempt of court violation. Typically, contempt of court's 30 days and or a $250 fine for the criminal side of things. Do you understand the maximum possible penalty?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Have you had an opportunity to discuss this, how you want to proceed with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
Mr. Brown, how do you wish to proceed today?
Your Honor, at this time, we are going to tender a plea to that.
All right, Mr. Ryder, before you do that, you have to understand what your rights are. So I'm going to tell you what your rights are as to a bond violation hearing. At a hearing, you'd have the right to have it in front of me as a judge. You do not have the right to have a jury trial. At that hearing, you have the right to see, hear, and question the witnesses. You could present witnesses for your own defense and get an order from the court called a subpoena to require those witnesses to appear and testify. You could testify or you could remain silent. And if you chose to remain silent, that silence could not be used against you. You'd have the right to have the burden of proof be on the police and the probation department and the prosecution. And that would be by a preponderance of the evidence. You'd also have the right to appeal from that hearing. Do you understand all of those rights?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
If you enter a plea today, you'd be giving up all of those rights. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Knowing all of those rights, do you still wish to go ahead with your plea today?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand so I can swear you in then. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I swear.
Go ahead, put your hand down. That's all right. Has anybody promised you anything or threatened you in any way in order to get you to plead today?
No.
Are you doing this voluntarily and of your own free choice and free will?
Yes, I am.
All right. The allegation against you is that on June 23rd, that you were on bond conditions, which said that you were not to be within 50 feet of Dawn Marie Crow, but that you were found to be in the same vehicle as her on that date. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Tell me what happened.
So me and my mom were doing errands like we typically do when we do errand running, where she drops me off and I do my own. I had no prior contact with her since the incident a month ago. And I had just got a cell phone this past Friday to contact Mr. Brown and doctors I needed to for various medical conditions I've dealt with. I had no prior contact or even acknowledgement she was going to be in the vehicle at all, let alone with me. that does not excuse it, but I I own up to the fact I was in the vehicle with her due to sources outside of my control. Again, that doesn't excuse it, but I I own up to the fact I made a mistake and had a very poor lapse of judgment.
How'd she get in the vehicle with you? I mean, what were you there first? Was she there first? How did it happen?
So I had been dropped off at Walmart. I typically walk around town to do my errands, and I had been dropped off at Walmart. My errands led me over to McDonald's where I was getting me and my mom lunch. It had been there. I'd been waiting for a while for her to pick me up due to, like I said, a poor lapse of judgment and the fact that I was dealing with a little bit of a sickness due to the sudden heat wave over the weekend. I made a momentary lapse of judgment of error and I guess stubbornness to still get in the vehicle due to time constraints of my mom having to work and me watching her dog while she worked. And there's no excuse for me being in the vehicle with her.
So you saw her in the vehicle and you got in anyway.
I did not. I did not. I had no prior knowledge. We are homeless currently, and all our personal belongings we have are in the car. And we have a very tiny car, and the belongings are stacked so high on one side that it touches the ceiling. I was not made aware she was in the vehicle, and I had no acknowledgement she was, and I was not even fully paying attention due to being under the weather from the heat.
Okay, Mr. Ryder, are you telling me that you didn't know that she was in the vehicle with you?
Not until I got in.
All right, so
It was not
once you
until I
got in, you knew that she was there, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and then once you knew that you were in the vehicle with her, you knew that that was a violation of your bond, right?
Yes, there was no stopping point where.
All right, and did you get out of the vehicle at that point?
No, because like I was about to say, there was no chance at stoppage of the vehicle because both lights we went to were green upon coming upon them.
Did you
There was
ask
at no
them to
point.
did you ask them to let you out of the vehicle?
I did make a little bit of a fuss about wanting to be let out of the vehicle, yes.
Who was driving, Mr. Ryder?
My mother,
And what's her name?
Nancy Ryder.
Okay. And where was Dawn Crow at?
She was in the back seat behind me.
Are you telling me that if you asked your mother to let you out, she would not do that for you?
Considering my mom has very poor eyesight and very poor timing when it comes to her turns, I imagine it was difficult for her to make a turn, and she's not likely one to just stop.
Mr.
Like my
Ryder,
dad.
Mr. Ryder, all you're giving me are excuses. You're not telling me that you did anything wrong. It's all everybody else's fault. You did nothing wrong. If you're going to plead to me, you got to tell me that you did something wrong.
I did.
Dawn Crow's in the vehicle. You knew she was in the vehicle. You knew that was a violation of your probation or your bond conditions, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you ask them to stop the car and let you out?
Yes.
So why didn't they?
I couldn't really tell you, Your Honor. I asked, and the request was not granted, and I was not about to just jump out of a moving vehicle.
How did the police find you in the vehicle with her, with Dawn Crow?
Because my mother had been in the oncoming lane of traffic for a moment, and her tag for this year fell off. She has her tag for this year, but registered, but she does not have it on her vehicle as we taped it on, and it flew off. And it was at that point we got pulled over.
What kind of a car is this?
I believe that the year is a 2021 Nissan Versa, I do believe. I know it's a Nissan Versa, just not sure of the year.
And you want me to believe that you didn't know Ms. Crow was in the car prior to you getting in?
Due to all our personal belongings being crammed in the vehicle and me being under the weather, it was a poor lapse of judgment on my part to even get in the vehicle. And due to sickness and out walking in the heat already, I was just looking to cool down for a minute and rest my legs due to being under the weather.
Well, why was it a
It
poor
was-
lapse of judgment if you didn't know that she was in the car?
Because it was a poor lapse of judgment once I got in the car that I realized she was in the car.
So you could have gotten out at that point, right?
Considering my mom had just like immediately moved before I even fully got in, yeah.
Mr. Ryder, why is it that you can't say yes or no when I ask you a question?
I admit it was a poor lapse of judgment on my part. I'm not blaming anybody else. I'm taking full responsibility on the grounds that I knew I shouldn't have been around her and I still was. There's no excuse for that.
It just seems like we were doing a cat chasing its tail thing there for about 10 minutes instead of just being yes, sir, and no, sir, and I did it and I'm sorry. Why can't you just say those things?
I own up to the fact I did it when I got in the car as a poor lapse of judgment that she was in it with me. I do greatly apologize. Like, that was never my intention to violate it, contact, be around her at that time. I own up that it was my fault, that I am the one responsible.
All right, I'm going to accept your plea. I find that you made it freely and voluntarily and intelligently. I think you're trying to soft pedal this as much as you possibly can because you're afraid that I'm going to get you in trouble. And I understand that. But I got to tell you this. I don't believe much of what you told me. All right. Mr. Brown, how do you want to proceed from here?
Your Honor, we can move to sentencing.
Mr. Fortier, is there any objection to that?
No, Judge.
All right. Mr. Ryder, I'm going to give your attorney and the prosecutor a chance to what's called allocute. That is to tell me what they want me to hear prior to sentencing. And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to do the same thing. So Mr. Fortier, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, I mean, given the significant attempt of Mr. Ryder to downplay the actions of that day, I think it's necessary for the court to be fully informed that when this vehicle was pulled over, Officer Gertz made contact with the driver, which was identified as Nancy Jean Ryder, the defendant's mother. They were informed of the reason for the stop, and he immediately recognized the front seat passenger as Brandon Russell Ryder, our defendant here. And there was a female passenger in the back seat. And before Officer Gertz even identified who that female passenger was, Mr. Ryder took it upon himself to tell Officer Gertz that he and the female rear passenger were planning to go for a walk in Aspen Park. Upon Officer Gertz talking to the female in the back seat, she didn't have any identification to provide. When he walked around, he noticed that it was Dawn Crow. I believe Officer Gertz recognized both of these individuals because he was a part of the underlying offense. So I find it quite interesting that the excuse that's been given is, it was an oversight, lack of judgment, all these things, when they weren't anywhere near the original location of where he was picked up. They were on their way to Aspen Park to be dropped off. And he told the officer that, and he failed to mention any of that to the court here today. I think that kind of goes to show that he's just willfully disregarding the court's orders. He's not taking it seriously because he wants to just downplay it as much as possible. Based on that, I think the court based on the bond violation, the willful bond violation, should sentence him to a term of incarceration for the contempt. I would leave that length of time up to your honor.
Mr. Brown.
Your Honor, Mr. Ryder, this, to the best of my knowledge, is the first violation. Again, there's no evidence of any kind of violence or anything like that going on here. He is dealing with some very severe health issues. He has some sort of a stomach issue. He told me the name of it, but I don't really remember. He's got some colon issues. It is my understanding as well that because they are homeless, he has a portable catheter that he has to keep in the vehicle at all times for some of the health issues. He has some minor scoliosis, some mental health issues as well that he is supposed to be seeing a physician for coming up here pretty quick. I would just ask the court to take those things into consideration when imposing a sentence. I was going to take up the issue of bond when we get to the status conference portion here, but it is a $2,000 bond, relatively low, but he has been sitting in there for 4 or 5 days now. He is not going to be able to post that bond. I'll just leave it at that, and the court can use its discretion.
All right, Mr. Ryder, what is it that you want me to know before I decide what to do?
The Aston Park, so and I'm not playing he said, she said, but we had a Pomeranian in the car, my mom's dog, and I babysit him for her while she's at work, like I was intending to that afternoon. And I was intending on, it must have been a miscommunication, honestly. I was intending on taking the Pomeranian for a walk through Aston because the Pomeranian had started barking when the officer approached, and I was just trying to calm and soothe the dog. And we had chit-chatted for a minute on it, and I was trying to explain the best of my ability that I was intending on taking him for a walk because I had just gotten a nice cold glass of ice water from McDonald's to share with me.
So you
As
think
well as my
the
food.
police officer can't make a distinction between a female person and a dog?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying on my end, there must have been a miscommunication among my words.
Your
With the
Honor, am
police
I allowed
officer,
to speak on this?
No, ma'am.
I can tell you what really happened.
I'm sure that you could, but this is not about you. This is about Mr. Ryder. Mr. Ryder, are you telling me that the police officer misunderstood your words, the difference between a female and a dog? You're going to go with a walk with dog instead of a walk with a human female. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I never specified it was with her. I said we were going for a walk. I never specified the dog or her.
Your Honor, I don't normally do this, but I am going to advise my client to just not say anything and let the court impose.
Probably a smart thing, Mr. Brown, because the more he opens his mouth, the deeper he gets himself in. Well, I'm going to take a minute and think about it. So what we're going to do is this. Mr. Brown, where are we at as far as the underlying case?
As far as the underlying case, Your Honor, I'm going to request an adjournment. I have spoken with Ms. Bruker about this. There is apparently some video out there that I'm not even sure if Ms. Bruker has it yet or the prosecutor's office has it yet. So I am waiting on that before we proceed.
Did you want to address bond as well?
I did, Your Honor. Again, this is a $2,000 bond, relatively low. He is not going to be able to post that. He fully understands what he did here. He should have gotten out of the car. I would ask the court to consider lowering the bond. I will leave it at that, Your Honor.
Where's he gonna stay if I let him out on bond?
Being homeless, I'm not quite sure of that, Your Honor. He does, again, though, he does have a lot of medical issues. I'm not sure if he's being attended to while he's incarcerated currently.
I intend on staying with my dad, Your Honor.
Where's that?
That is in Vanderbilt area at his house.
Does he have a vehicle?
Yes, he does. He has a I'm not sure the year on that either. It's a very old Ford F-150.
Is there a reason
But he has
why
a house I can stay at.
have you asked him to do that yet, or are you just hoping?
I have not contacted him yet I don't have his phone number. It's in my phone because he had the same number for 10 years and just a couple years ago had to change it. I have not learned his new number by heart, but if I could have the opportunity to maybe get his number and get a hold of him, I'm sure that would be no issue as he has offered it to me before. I also had intentions on relocating out to like Petoskey or Sheboygan area, as those are where my doctor's appointments all through mid-July are. I've already been in contact with some of the resources in the area for housing over there.
Well, I remember the bond conditions that were set for you, and I remember the reasons why, because you're just recently, in October of last year, currently on probation for a similar case in Crawford County. Failed to appear, discharged unsuccessfully. The original
Did I ask you?
The original request was for $10,000, I believe, cash bond, and I set it at 2,000. This is charged as a second offense, domestic violence, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Could I ask a question about the bond, Your Honor?
Yep.
If there's no solution to lower it at the very least, so because my mom is very low income and the only one of us that is working to get anything for us started housing wise. If there is any way there could be like at least a 10% cash surety of the current bond, I know she can make that. It would take some time to build the money for her, but she could do it.
My problem is if I let you out, I think you're going to go back and do the exact same thing all over again. You'll have some excuse, you'll have some reason for it, but you'll do it again. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do that.
I swear, Your Honor, I would immediately get a hold of my dad. I would even have him pick me up from here to take me to his house the moment I could contact him.
But there'd be some circumstance where they would come to you and you wouldn't stay away from them, just like you did in this particular case.
My parents are divorced and they have no tolerance for each other, and my dad has absolutely no tolerance for the victim and would not allow me anything to do with her at all, period.
Your Honor, just for the record, the people would object to any modification of the bond. I think it's pretty clear from what's been put on the record so far that Mr. Ryder has no clue where he's going to stay if he gets out, let alone the court being able to know where he's at. So
I do. I would stay at my dad's, and I could happily give you the address once I have it, along with my dad's telephone number to verify.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. I appreciate that information. Here's what we're going to do. As to the bond violation sentence of the court, you spend 5 days in jail. Credit for the time that you've already spent I don't know if that's 5 days or not, but you'll get credit for whatever time you spent in on that. And I deny the bond reduction chart, reduction at this point is going to stay the exact same. Mr. Brown can bring another motion if he feels that that's appropriate once you've got a specific place to stay, but I'm not going to let you out on a wing and a prayer. Showing me that you don't have any idea what you're doing when you're out there. You don't have any ability to stay out of trouble when you're out there. And you've got too much of a history of domestic violence for me to feel that the community is going to be safe with you out there, with you're not going to have specific ideas of what to do. That's the order of the court.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.